Kia ora everyone, good morning. Ko Claire Takongoa. I'm the Learning Specialist for Schools at Te Ara Ahuroa Retirement Commission. Thank you for that warm welcome. I'm very excited to be here today. I'm going to be talking to you about teaching financial capability in the maths classroom using resources from Sorted in Schools Te Whai Hua Kia ora. And we're going to be focusing more on junior students today, so looking at those year 7 to 10 students and how we can get started with Sorted in Schools and financial capability in the maths classroom. So what will we be looking at? We're going to talk about why we should be teaching financial capability, what is Sorted in Schools, how you can find resources on the Sorted in Schools website, and just how you can get started with implementing Sorted in Schools. First of all, let's think about why we should teach financial capability. I think we all have a good idea. We know how important it is, but just to give you some more details, more than 80% of school leavers wish they'd learned about money during class. Students today have greater access to credit than any other generation. From an early age, they risk being sucked into cycles of bad debt that can hold them back. Our young people need knowledge and skills to make good money decisions at each life stage and to arrive at retirement in good financial shape. New Zealand's aging population means that today's students will live longer. So the sooner they start being good with money, the better. We need students to leave school knowing how to make their money work for them. So these are the financial capability progressions from the Ministry of Education. And this really helps us to understand what we're trying to teach them when we're talking about financial capability. We use these financial capability progressions to underpin our planning, and they can also be helpful to you so that you can track the progress of your students as they develop their financial capability. We're going to look more at level 4 today. At this level, students should be able to recognize the value of New Zealand's currency in relation to currency of other countries, compare different ways of paying and receiving payment for goods and services such as debit cards, compare individual spending choices and priorities at different stages of life, describe different ways to get value for money when they're spending, such as buying clothes, toiletries, or paying for a haircut. They should be able to discuss external factors that can affect people's financial choices, such as advertising and peer pressure. And we know this is an important one for young people. They should also be able to describe the cost of credit from different financial institutions and discuss differences between good and bad debt. So what is Sorted in Schools? Sorted in Schools was launched in 2019. Our resources are co-constructed by teachers for teachers, and each package is trialled with schools prior to being finalised. Feedback from the trials is used to refine and shape the future of our program. The best part is, all of our resources are free for schools to use, and that's not going to change. Sorted in Schools offers a range of resources, including unit and achievement standards, interactives, videos, lesson planners, glossaries, and more. Over time, we also developed Te Whai Hua Kia ora. This has been specially designed for Māori medium education by working closely with Kura. Development of resources is ongoing, and it will also include the introduction of achievement standards for Māori medium education. One thing to note about Te Whai Hua Kia ora is that it's not directly translated from the English medium education resources. Instead, it is a culturally responsive program that fits well with the needs of Māori teachers and students. So let's get into it. When you get to the Sorted in Schools website, you'll be asked whether you would like to access the site for English medium education or Māori medium education. This will take you to a different sign-up form for each. This is the dashboard that you will see after you have registered for Sorted in Schools. Now, there are many benefits of registering for Sorted in Schools. You can save your favorite resources, activities, and tools so you can easily access them from your dashboard. This can include lesson plans, videos, infographics, vocabulary lists, teacher guides, answer booklets, basically anything you want to use with your class. You just click on the star in the corner of the resources and it will be saved here under the 3 headings: resources, activities, and tools. Now, if you are teaching seniors and you would like to request assessment schedules, you do need to be registered to do this. These are the key themes that underpin the sorted resources. We have debt, goals, insurance, investing, KiwiSaver, managing my money, retirement, and saving. Now, these are the big themes that we really want students to know about. You can see that they're color-coded and they all have their own icons, which also makes it easier to find resources related to these themes on our website. Right, you're probably wondering where you should start. There are so many resources available on the Sorted in Schools website that it can be hard to know where to begin. The best place to start is our Teacher Hub on the website. From here, you can see, the best place to start is the Teacher Hub. From here, you can see that you can click on the Teacher Hub button, or you could head to the Primary Intermediate Resources button you see on the screen. If you click on that button for Primary Intermediate, it will take you to a page with 5 steps to help you get started. It has some links to great resources which make excellent starter activities. One of the links takes you to the starter pack, and I encourage you to try this out as your first activity, especially if you're new to Sorted in Schools. The starter pack is one of our most popular resources, so I'm going to talk to you more about that now. So the starter pack includes interactive tools, and students can work through this independently at their own pace. They can earn coins by answering questions correctly, and it's a great way to get your students thinking about key concepts and the themes relating to financial capability. So you'll see the pink tile there, that's the beginner's guide, and that's an introduction, and it tells students what they will learn as they work through the starter pack. Now, each module doesn't take students too long to complete, but they're good conversation starters, and you may like to link to other activities or integrate them into your unit plans and wider lesson plans. You can see there are also some challenges which you can use at the end of the starter pack to continue the learning when you're ready. So let's look more closely at the different parts of the starter pack. The first part is spending your money. So this task encourages students to think about how and why they spend their money on certain things. It gets them thinking about healthy spending decisions, as well as those decisions that are not so good. They'll look at how we spend using cash, credit, lay-by, PayPal, or EFTPOS cards. You can see an example of this on the screen. In this part, students can click on the method of payment and they'll see an explanation for each payment type. They'll also learn about interest that is charged when they buy things with money they don't have yet. It helps students to understand their bank statements and how they can use online banking to manage their money. The next part is when you are working. Students will be invited to think about how their relationship with money changes when they're actually spending money that they have earned themselves. They learn about wages and salaries, reading their pay slips, and understanding deductions from their pay, such as tax, student loan repayments, or KiwiSaver. And you can see an example of this on the screen. They've got a pay slip there, and they can click on the different numbers to see the different parts of those pay slips, so they understand when they get their pay slip, where's my money going? Why is this money going out? So that they actually know what they're looking at and how to read it. There's a video that also explains what an IRD number is and why we need an IRD number. And they'll start to learn about and think about what our income tax is actually used for. So next we have saving our money. This part of the starter pack helps students to think ahead, to think about saving on a regular basis, and to even have a separate savings account. They will also think about things like building up an emergency fund, earning interest on their savings, plus a few ideas to help them save money. After that, we have borrowing money. Here, students learn about debt and also about paying interest. They're used to think about the amount of interest they'll pay on their money, on money they have borrowed, as well as how much time it will take them to pay the money back. It goes on to talk more about different money lenders and the varying amounts of interest that they will pay to different lenders. So this example on the screen with the jelly beans, I've clicked on all of the things so you can see the jelly beans in the jars, but students can click on the interest rate underneath and they'll see the jelly beans fall into the jar. So the colored jelly beans represent their money, and the black jelly beans represent the interest that they will pay on the money that they have borrowed. This leads students to think about when getting into debt for certain things is okay or when it is not so good. Obviously taking into consideration they're paying more. So just trying to really get that through to them. There's a drag and drop activity so that students can demonstrate their knowledge of good debt and also bad debt. So once you've completed the starter pack, there are 2 challenges, and these can be done as group activities. Both ask students to use an event planner to plan different events for which they must create a detailed budget of all their expenses. Students will have earned sorted coins as they worked their way through the starter pack. So each group can add their coins together and they can use their coins to pay for their event. One of the challenges asks them to plan a dance party, while the other asks them to plan a school trip somewhere in New Zealand. So that's just a bit of a fun group activity that really builds on the learning they've done through the starter pack. Let's have a look at some of our other interactive activities. They're another good option to get your class started, and they're also very popular with students and teachers. The easiest way to find the interactives is by selecting the student menu, which you can see on the screen here. Then you can see the interactive activities there with the little iPad icon. One of our popular interactives is the KiwiSaver Pick-a-Path. This is an example of what it looks like here. Students can follow the stories of 3 different characters as they prepare to leave school, so they can choose their own character. They'll be able to see their character on the screen with the description of their situation at different life stages. Students will need to make decisions for their character as they go through, such as should they keep working in the job they already have, should they take up an apprenticeship, or should they start studying. They'll have other life milestones included too, such as getting promoted or getting a pay rise, buying a house or having a baby. As they go through the interactive, they will begin to understand how our life decisions and how other life events impact on our KiwiSaver savings over time. This is our interactive party planner. Students can choose from 2 different parties to plan, both for different occasions and both have different budgets. They'll have to decide how they will spend their budget. Will it be on an expensive venue? Will they pay for transport? What will they feed their guests? And what other party supplies will they spend their money on? There are happiness and hunger ratings for their guests to tell them if they've planned a decent party or not. As you can see on the screen, I've chosen to spend my money on a venue and activities, so my guests are happy, but they're still hungry because I haven't selected any food yet. But I do still have some money left. You can see on the side, I've still got $145 to spend so that I can feed my guests. This is our supermarket shopper, and this is also a popular one. It's also very relevant at the moment because obviously due to inflation and the rising cost of living, there's a lot of discussion around the price of groceries in particular and how families can save money. So students might have already heard adults talking about this. In this interactive, students have a budget to buy groceries for themselves and their flatmates. Alternatively, there's an option to choose a custom budget. So students could choose their own, or you could give them a budget. They then have a range of grocery items and they need to decide which options are a need and which are a want. So they've got essentials like toilet paper, and then they've got other things like pizza and chocolate biscuits. They will have to research the prices for some of the items on their list. And after that, they will calculate the cost of each item they want to buy. Calculate the cost of all the items they want to buy and see if they can stay within their budget. The last interactive that we have is surviving in retirement. It's a little bit similar to the KiwiSaver Pick a Path, but along the way, students also make decisions about the amount they want to contribute to KiwiSaver, how much they want to save, where they want to live, and which car they will buy. Will they buy the expensive car on finance, or will they buy the affordable car using their savings? They'll even have to choose if they want to have insurance on that car. If they get into a crash, which they might, they'll see the impact of their decision not to have insurance on their savings and also on their well-being. They've got a well-being meter so they can see the impact of their decisions and financial situation on their well-being as they go through at different life stages. Towards the end, they will also have a weekly budget calculation for retirement based on the choices they have made. Students will be able to see if they have enough to retire, and they'll be given some options of the lifestyle they'd like to live in retirement. So this is really gets students thinking about how their decisions make a difference to their financial situation over time. So I also wanted to talk to you about how you can find resources from maths. When you're looking at our website, there are a couple of different ways to search for resources. If you start by selecting resources in the menu, you can search by curriculum level, learning area, or you can search for resources related to those different sort of themes that I talked about earlier. Once you've selected one of these, it will take you to a page of resources and you can apply more filters if you need to. For example, I could search for maths resources for level 4 to 5 around the theme of investing, which should give me 2 resources with learning materials attached. Here's an example. So this module is called Investing in Shares. If you look at the bottom of the tile, you can see the tags in orange. This is helpful because you can easily see that the resources will be best for students working at level 5 of the curriculum. The theme is investing and the subject is maths. The purpose of this resource is to introduce the basics about shares, including how the share market works, how to choose companies to invest in, and put their learning to the test with a share market simulation. Students will also learn to apply statistics knowledge that aligns with the New Zealand curriculum to collect and understand share market information. This resource allows students to build financial capability knowledge, and they can also work through it at their own pace. On the side, you can see links to resources for both students and teachers. These resources are documents which you can download for yourself or for your students to use. So let's have a closer look at those learning resources now. There are a range of resources to support the learning in this unit. The first part helps lay the foundation for what students need to know about shares and the share market. There's a PowerPoint for you to show your class, and this goes into more detail about what shares are and what the share market is. It goes on to explain long-term trends, and there are activities in the PowerPoint to help students understand these concepts. One of the activities asks learners to plot trend lines. To complete this activity, students are given data which shows yearly figures of Apple's revenue over the last 10-year period. Students are asked to copy the data into a spreadsheet and create a line graph. They'll then add a trend line. Once that graph is complete, students can use the trend line to identify what has happened with Apple's overall revenue over that period of time. They'll continue to investigate data from other companies, which will help students to understand that data is important when investing in shares. The final part is a group project, and it's called Which Company Should I Invest in to Make a Profit? As a group, students will investigate and compare the revenue of a few different companies to decide which they should invest in. After deciding how much to invest, each group will record the company's share price over the course of a week. At the end, the groups will find out how much they could earn or lose by investing in their chosen company. We have resource packages for teachers covering both financial identity and financial sustainability. Financial identity is defined as the values, knowledge, skills, and behaviours that influence how people manage money to build personal or collective financial well-being. So talking about financial identity is a good place to start, especially if your students are new to financial capability, to get them thinking about their own attitudes towards money. Now, education for financial sustainability involves equipping students with the knowledge and ways of thinking they need to achieve economic prosperity and well-being over the long term, without compromising the needs of future generations. So we have online guides to help you figure out how you can use the MAS resources for financial sustainability and financial identity. These guides give you an introduction to the resources and explain the pedagogy and methodology overview for the frameworks underpinning the development of these resources. This here encourages students to apply math skills and knowledge in a financial context. Students explore their financial identity and behaviours when managing their money, spending, saving, and taking on debt. You can see here that the MAS resources for financial sustainability linked to the achievement standards for MAS and sustainability. So for financial sustainability and MAS, these are some of the resources that we have, and they're similar to the investing shares resource that I showed you. So we've also got designing a tiny house, planning for retirement, investing, which is the one I just talked to you about, and also insurance. So from MAS through financial identity, we have managing debt, managing your money, relationships to money, which is the one you can see on the screen, setting goals, and spending and saving. So what's new for Sorted in Schools? We continue to create great resources for you to use. And we've recently launched some new resources that I think you'll be interested in, and I'm going to introduce you to those today. This is our new interactive. It is called Motu Quest. It was designed to reflect the values of learners from Pacific Island backgrounds. In this interactive, students must travel through the Cloud Islands to restore financial capability as this knowledge has been lost. Students answer questions to pass different levels. They also have access to resources which help them to answer those questions. So the resources include PowerPoints, glossaries, infographics, and these are all available on our website. They'll learn facts about different Pacific Island nations and cultures. One thing to note about this interactive is that the knowledge check questions are a bit too hard if you're teaching year 7 and 8 students, especially if they haven't studied financial literacy previously. However, you could use it to reinforce learning after you've spent some time using our resources in class so that the students are familiar with the concepts. There are also planners available on the website, so you can use those to build on that learning. Along with this interactive to create a larger unit so that the learning is ongoing. I'd also like to introduce you to our taxation module. This is aimed at year 9 and 10 students, and it's just recently been launched. We worked with Inland Revenue to develop a module to help students understand what tax is and why we pay it. In this module, students will go over topics such as tax codes and KiwiSaver deductions, sources of income for individuals and businesses, GST, how it is paid and collected, tax for not-for-profit organisations, and also tax and themselves. So also thinking about using KiwiSaver and using student loan calculators to calculate balances for KiwiSaver and student loans. This is our teacher self-review tool, and this is just to help you develop your confidence to teach financial capability. By using this, you can help identify where you are on your journey to becoming confident in teaching financial capability in your classroom. I know for some people it's quite new, and for others you might have been teaching financial capability for a while. So we start off with unaware. If you don't have much knowledge of teaching financial capability, you're not sure where to start, you might be unaware, and that's okay. Everyone has to start somewhere. If you have some awareness, it means that you have some knowledge of financial capability and you're starting to think about how you could integrate financial capability into your learning program. The next level means you're ready to integrate financial capability into your learning program, and you're even starting to try out new practices in your classroom and explore new opportunities. If you're confident, it means that you are now feeling more confident because you know how to integrate financial capability in your classroom in meaningful and authentic ways. You'll be at the point when you can create new programs, and you might even be sharing ideas and resources with other teachers. At the top level, we have a super user. So this means you're more or less an expert in teaching financial capability. It means that you are designing financial capability programs with students and communities. Your financial capability lessons are relevant and meaningful, and you'll be starting to inspire others to teach financial capability by starting those important conversations within your school. You'll be starting to think about how you can lead the learning of others in order to build their confidence and help them move up through the levels we see here. Now, if you're keen or you don't know where to start, but you want to start building your confidence and moving through these levels, this is what I'm here for. So we provide PLD, and I can also help you individually to build your confidence so that you feel ready to teach financial capability in your own classroom. So one of the ways we do that is by providing PLD, and we offer a range of opportunities. I've just included what I've got planned for the rest of this year. Now, at the top, you'll see Money Bites. Money Bites is for your own personal development. Sorted in Schools teachers and Kayako have exclusive access to attend a series of free Money Bites webinars to help expand your knowledge and improve your own personal finances. These webinars are delivered by one of our affiliated independent sorted facilitators, and each webinar is fun, interactive, and bite-sized. You'll come away from these webinars feeling inspired and equipped with ideas to help you manage your own personal financial needs and increase your confidence to teach financial capability in your classroom. I'll be running more webinars this year too. The 3 upcoming webinars will introduce our newer resources, some of which I've already mentioned to you. So I'll be running a webinar for the Pacific resources, which will go into more depth regarding MotuQuest and the Pacific Planner. We also have some more exciting resources to add to this module, which I'll talk about in the webinar. We also have 6 new unit standards coming out later this year. In October, I'll present a webinar to familiarise teachers with the assessment tasks and associated learning activities. In the webinar for the Inland Revenue resources, I will guide you to deepen your understanding of the taxation rubric, and I'll talk about the 6 topics covered in the module and look at the learning tasks in more detail. Now, I'm very lucky because I get to travel around the country visiting schools and meeting teachers. I've got a few trips coming up this year. If you can see your region here, please let me know if I can come and visit you. If you can't see your region here, but you would like to see me, please get in touch anyway, and I'll see what I can do. If you would like me to create some specialized PLD for your staff, I can do that, and I can run a workshop within your school. That can be face-to-face, or it can be online if you prefer. So please do get in touch. I welcome your questions as well as your feedback. Are you already using our resources in your classroom? If you are, I'd love to hear how it's going. So please don't hesitate to get in touch with me. And thank you so much for joining me today. And I hope I've given you something to take away, something to use in your classrooms, and inspired you to get out there teaching financial capability.